So, Mike, you watched the interview from Hidden True Crime, right? Of
Yes.
The Debra and Chris Sterns. Now, you cannot help but feel a bit sorry for them, even though you hate their son with a passion. And I don't want to feed those words to you, but I can't stand their son with a passion, and I cursed the people that created him. But yet, when you see the parents in an interview, again, you cannot help but feel sorry for them. Mike.
Yeah, I said this a while ago when we were talking about the Koberger case, and you had Michael and Marianne Koberger, and I said, people should always remember the 4 who were killed, those 4 young people, but also pray for the Kobergers because that family has been destroyed by what happened. It's the same thing here. My heart does go out to Chris and Debra Stern because it's easy to throw bombs at somebody and criticize somebody, but then what happens if it was you? And you got to imagine walking in their shoes. I could not imagine what it would be like to have one of my children be accused of a horrific crime against a child, killing them and abusing them. I don't know how I would react. And when I hear the interview and I hear what they say, they're upset about people saying mean things about them. If you want to attack their son, that's one thing. But to, say that, they created this monster. Look, they babied him. But a lot of parents baby their children, or there's a mama's boy or daddy's little girl or whatever. But they don't turn into a horrible monster like this guy. My heart goes out to them because they are suffering too. Could you imagine what it would be like to have your child accused of a horrific crime like that?
But, Mike, I want to read some of the comments in the chat to see, and this is understandable. Yeah. DOTMH, I don't feel bad for them. They raised the monster and continue to enable him. I understand, DOTMH.
I understand, sure.
Marianne Nolan, these parents are sick. The mother, the most, though. Bobo, you use instincts and could tell Jen lied and was involved. His parents missed red flags. Maddie's dead. That's my sympathy. Bobo, I'm sort of in the same camp as you. Kerry Hall. Hey, Sergeant Bill, Professor Mike from Australia. Welcome. So I guess not many of you are feeling sorry for the Sternses. However, some of the things that they did, and we're going to talk about, they tried to give an excuse. So this is what they're trying to excuse Stephan's PTSD. They say he has TBI.
Right.
That's what's that? Traumatic brain injury.
Right.
He said at the age of 7, he was hit twice in one sitting by a pickup truck in the head. And that's where his problems all started from. I have to not agree with that. I mean, look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert in TBI, but certainly a traumatic brain injury doesn't make you an abuser, put it that way, of a little girl, or make you, some people will claim that, CTE, all these pro football players, right, these injuries are all coming up with these diagnoses years and years later. Anyway, Debra and Chris Sterns are claiming that is when all of his issues started. So there is parents, they're saying that. I'm going to play a little bit from Vinnie Politan. They're going to play some of the interview with the Sternses.
Talking about this bizarre arrangement.
The only thing that we knew that was wrong, and we addressed it immediately, was when we became aware of the co-sleeping arrangements. And they were here at our house. And at that point, I put my foot down and said, Madeline's not sleeping in the room with you. She's too old for that. And I said, you need to stop doing that at home too. And I talked to both Jen and to Stephan. And Jen says, well, she comes in at night. She gets scared. She comes in at night and climbs into bed. And I can't stop her. I said, does your door have a lock on it? She said, yes. I said, well, then you use the damn lock. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then to send your child off to sleep with a man in another room in a single bed together, who is not a biological relative. And Madeline is the one that told me about the co-sleeping. Not Stephan and not Jim. Madeline did. When she related, she said it was a funny story. She says, "Oh, I was in bed with Mom and Stephan, and when I woke up in the morning, my leg was draped over him." And she went, "Isn't that funny?" I said, "No, it's not. I don't find that funny."
So so other people are finding out about this arrangement and calling.
So that's not okay, Mike. That's not okay. And again, when Debra Sterns finds out about it, she doesn't find it at all amusing, doesn't find it at all okay. Who would find that to be okay? Now, one of the things that I may have learned from the interview and is that Debra Sterns said that when Madeline and Jennifer would be at their house, sometimes Madeline would just jump like on the arm of the chair and put her arms around Stephan and kiss him, which seemed, inappropriate to say the least. And was the way that Jennifer was allowing her to do certain things and to stay in the same bed with him in her home, did that create this false relationship of possible boyfriend-girlfriend when she started this at 9 or 10 years old? Is that what that created, Mike?
Billy, in a strange way, it's possible that Jennifer, by allowing these sorts of things to happen and thinking it was okay, it enabled him to have access to poor Maddie in a way that if everything was on the up and up, that would never have happened. But over the course of a number of years, when that happens, it's almost like as if Jennifer is either ignorantly, actually assisting this guy, Stephan, in almost like grooming her daughter to accept these sorts of things. And you just wonder, like, where's her head at, and at what point does he, begin to see this as more than just a satisfactory relationship on his end, and actually in some weird perverse manner actually believe that this is okay, despite the fact that everything in society will tell you this is wrong. But in their little world, he may be messed up enough to think, this was okay in some way because maybe Jennifer was acting that way and allowing it, or at least letting it happen. That's why I think a lot of people see this and they look at Jennifer and are just wondering and can't wait until she gets handcuffed, and taken away. But that's a very disturbing revelation about that relationship. That little tidbit of information. I mean, your head explodes with like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's not okay. North Carolina nurse from the chat. His injury sounds like a typical concussion, not something that would change his personality. North Carolina nurse, I happen to agree with you, and you have more credentials than me being a nurse. Maui Swift, harassing the parents isn't right, though. You're 100% right, Maui. I just think that, the emotion maybe and the hatred directed towards the Sterns, Debra and Chris Stern, may come out of the hatred that people have for their son based on what's happened to this little girl. And we can't tell the public, well, Maui, you said it correct. Harassing the parents isn't right. You're 100% right. And I agree with you.